Hey guys, welcome back. We're here with another video. So this is a name that you will recognize if you've been following the channel for a while. This is Cat Rose, or my sister, and she started playing again. So she used to be like D3, D4 back in the day, and the game's placed her in Platinum 1 actually, which was a bit stupid because, well, you'll see. But what we're going to be looking at in this video is if you're stuck in low Platinum and you want to break into Diamond, this is a Platinum 4 match where she was in it, and I'm going to try to point out some of the things that she's doing that helps her to outmaneuver or beat Platinum players. Additionally, I will also be pointing out things she could do in excess of that to make her push even higher up in the ranks. So this is a game of King of the Hill on Solitude, fairly decent game mode to go through. Let's get on with it. So I don't mind the start off of the match here. I think this is fine. Little things like when nades come through like that, like nades are always going to bounce away, right? It's a really small thing. But when the nades are going to bounce away from you like that, you just want to walk forward, right? Because if you look here, your teammate walks straight past anyway, so you need to help him. So just help your teammates. As soon as, like, you should have been in there shooting him, you kind of baited your teammate a little bit there, so try not to do that. If you're going to go, just go, right? I don't think he dies. He wins the 1v1, which is good, but yeah, he got baited a little, so try not to do that. This part here, holding out LR is good. It's a good sight line. It makes the opponent spawn in the open, sort of in near a hotel, near a truck, essentially onto the lift and into blue. So that gives you LR, it gives you yard. You can hold the flowers area as well, which is pretty good. Nothing wrong with this position. Helps you get a nice little overview of the mid. Sweeping's good here, but that fight right there, you didn't even need to shoot that guy. You could have just backsmacked him. So one really common error that people do at lower ranks, and even in Diamond as well, is like, this guy has no idea that you're here. So you don't need to shoot him. You could just walk up to him and backsmack him, because here, he could have potentially turned around and fought you. Luckily he didn't, but he could have. And then just again there was a missed opportunity to get away. So right about here, when you're getting shot in the back, I think you take some shots after you kill that guy. So you could have curb slid off here into the hill. You know 2 of them are dead. Your teammates just died here. 2 people dead here. So because your teammates spawned on that side, it means that this side is probably okay. Probably, based on the information that you have. So it means the enemies are probably this way, so you want to get your ass light around there. You could have just curb slid off the ledge and then you get shot by this guy and you don't get around in time and you get killed. They get the hill. So you can see them spawning, like we said, we're holding an LR, or light rifle, if it was in Halo 5. So these guys are spawning in lift here. We've spawned in tram. So that gives us like a nice little overview. 2 of them are dead right now. We should try to sort of hold LR right here and maybe towards C. If we hold here, and we have someone over here, and someone over here, and someone in the hill, this means the enemy has to spawn in this area over here, which means they have to come out of these doors, do anything, and basically if that's the case, we can crossfire them. So in Platinum, we're not expecting like high level setups, but at the same time, if you can sort of look where teammates are stood, you can take advantageous points on the map. So LR, where Cat is stood right now, is a really good point on the map for her team. Even though all her team are bottom mid for some reason, which is good. And then she goes even higher up. Because of the way the team is, it's causing the enemy team to spawn at lift as well, because they've not quite pushed far down enough. And there's a little bit of Halo time in there, but that guy gets killed anyway, so it's all good. As her teammates have gone down, we can't see the kill feed here. We know there's at least 2 guys alive. And 1 guy dead. We don't know where the other guy is because of the way the kill feed works in theater. Dropping down like this when 3 people on your team are dead is not a good idea. You've given up the high ground. You've potentially moved the spawns. This guy's probably going to spawn in and see you on this guy's cam, so he knows you're there even if they're not calling out. This guy's probably going to go top dip. I've not seen this game yet, but I think you're going to die. Yeah. So then that guy comes and you get traded out and then they get the hill time. So yeah, you just got to be careful of stuff like that. Like I would have just hung fire. I know that King of the Hill, you need to get the objective, but sometimes it's worth just waiting and having that patience. Like there's not enough information present to make a decision like that. Here as well in this fight, if I just scroll back to the correct moment there, when we drop down, if you are going to take a fight like this position is really good. Where you are right now, you've got the perfect position to jiggle peek and shoot. Because you're close to the wall than him as well, so you can kind of use that to your advantage. Ideally, he would be closer to the wall than you, because of the way that sort of parallax works. When I think that's what it's called when you're near a barrier. When you're near a wall, if you're closer, they'll see you first. But I like how you're using the wall here, but then as the fight draws out, you kind of move around. But you didn't know where the rest of the team was, so this guy here, he's going to ruin your day, and now you exposed yourself into 2v1. So I would have dipped this way, played like a rat, and then just tried my best to stay alive at this point. I personally wouldn't have ended up in this scenario, I don't think. But then, it's like, you never wanted to come this way, because that guy's there, so you should have gone that way. Should have been behind here and tried to wait for your teammates to spawn up. Because these guys are still dead. Anyway, that's a lot of analysis for the first minute. We're 5 minutes in already. There's just these micro things, like you're beating people at the rank, you're getting the kills, you're doing stuff, but it's like, it's that higher level thinking. Like, she's clearly better than the player she's against because she's mechanically like beating or trading them, but there's more to it than that. Still fight breaking out. Holding out here is not too bad. It does leave the high ground open to the enemy team though, so they could like push posters over here, or they could push A, or they could push blue as they are right now. Just the love of God. Right, so if you're going to play this, like if you're going to run out of blue like this, and this is on any map and any mode in the game, you absolutely cannot afford to make this mistake that these two guys make here. I think there's another player. Watch what these guys do in slow motion. What do they, in fact, when you're watching the video right now, what do they not do? What did they not do? Ridiculous. And they don't even turn round. It's mad. So it's just silly mistakes like that. She was just holding out, patient. Arguably she could have been somewhere else, but my God, the lack of awareness from players at this rank is insane. And just running around a corner like that and not checking, like, you will die if you do that. And she's just holding out now, and they're just running in the hill. They're just suicided into the hill to stop the enemy team scoring. And he's scoring. And this guy somehow stays alive. This guy's kind of asleep. But you can see that there's a lot of unforced errors going on. Like, the yellow team is making errors. Like, both teams are making, to be fair. But KOTH is kind of trying to hold out and trying to stop the enemy team from doing things because she knows that they won't check certain areas. And that doesn't mean she's perfect. Like, we've already gone through a few of the mistakes that she's already. But it's just reading the map. So here, if we stop, we've spawned in loop. If we've spawned in loop and our teammates are over here, this suggests that most of the enemies are like here somewhere, and one's there, and one's there. There may be one over on C, which is why it split spawned us, potentially. Remember, she wouldn't have these outlines though, because it's here. So I'm thinking straight away you want to check left before you push, because otherwise you get shot in the ass. But then if you know your teammate's pushing, you could wait till they get sort of like here, and then you can push at the same time. But throwing a nade like that, you've just told this guy that you're here, and you got nothing for that. So that was not worth it. Don't do that. That guy knows you're here now, so he's throwing nades back. This guy's just spawned. He's going to see what that teammate's doing, and he's going to come down here as well. You got to be careful giving away free information like that. Or not. This is the stuff I'm talking about. Like, if that happened in a high diamond lobby, they would have known you were there, and they would have checked tram, and they would have checked loop. This rank, it's just that awareness. Like, a grenade literally flew at this guy's head, and he just doesn't care. That was fair, trying to hold out like that. You had the high ground, you crouched, but he was on the bridge. So you kind of snookered yourself there by going that way, but it is what it is. Sometimes there's no real analysis to be made other than it wasn't the right play. So you should have gone in tram rather than that way. They got the hill. So we're evened up with 4 minutes left. So we had a lot of influence on the first hill, not so much on the second hill, because we maybe took fights we didn't need, or we played in the wrong order to the team. I like holding here though, this is really good. No way you win that, no. So, do we get any information as to where this guy is? I don't think we checked, did we? Got this left again, let's have a look. Yeah, you didn't even check. So you need to be really careful when you do this. First of all, you probably want to hide, you probably want to use the wall here as cover if you're going to shoot this way. But second of all, when you go up the lift, you should always be looking towards benches. Because you could get the halo timing on someone and you could see them as they come. So you always want to make sure you're clearing everything before you commit, even though the guy's not there yet, which is you know, I get that. You should check it anyway, because you just don't know where the enemy team is. We don't know how many pings this is. I'm assuming it's 1 because we can't see any outlines or whatever, but you should be careful with stuff like that. Yeah, it's 1. Right, and there's 1. So we've seen 2. We know there's 2. Still 2 missing. And we're out in the open here. If anyone comes to shoot us, we have no escape whatsoever. He doesn't know the third player's there. The fourth player is behind us. She'll see the third player in a second. And by that point, it's too late. So it wasn't the fact that what she was doing was the wrong thing to do. It was actually the right thing to do. It's just how she did it. She needs to stay behind this wall here. Or potentially go into the top of Snipe Tower. And then at least that guy may have not realised you were there or something like that. But you can't not be checking stuff when you're going to anchor like this. Because if you anchor, you're solo essentially, right? So you have to be aware of someone roaming on the other team to get rid of you. That's like the downside of anchoring. You will end up in pivot fights. And you have to win them. Now they're holding over the hill because this guy's here. And he's literally making the same mistake as you. Not stood in a good place. That guy just... I don't even know. What was that strafe? So here this guy's trying to strafe, right? But the aim assist in this game is so strong that the reticule is just following him anyway. If you're going to strafe like this, you want to strafe further. Yeah? He's literally strafing like this wide. You want to strafe like this wide. Or maybe like that wide at least. It's just not a great strafe. Like, you only miss one shot on him. And your left stick aiming as well, which is good. Like, there was hardly any right stick aim in that fight from KOTH there. So, it's, you know, if the guy's got a really bad strafe, then she doesn't need to aim with the right stick. So she just shoots him. I like how he checked there again. And not pushing mid is also a good idea. You always want to push around the edges here. You're trying to get your anchor spot back for your team, which is good. How has this guy not shot you yet? He's seen you like 4 times. I think there was space to scope in there. You had no business winning that fight whatsoever. That guy just totally messed up. So again, if you guys watching, look how mechanically inferior sometimes people are at this rank. She had no business whatsoever winning that fight. This dude here who's dead, literally saw KOTH like 3 times before he shot her. So God knows what he was doing. He died as well, but that's not the point. The enemy team is getting time, and that teammate probably shouldn't have pushed, but it's just the duel potential here. Like, she has so much more duel potential than other players in the match that she can make bad decisions and still win. Which is highlighting how important it is to be able to shoot your gun. Like, we can go over all the really high level stuff, but at low platinum, really, it's whoever shoots gun best, right? You want to stand in the right place and shoot gun. That's all you have to do. The right place, admittedly, here is King of the Hill, which she's not got a lot of time for, but she's been a considerable pain in the ass for the other team. Stopping them from scoring. Hopefully her team trying to take the initiative by scoring while she does that. I probably would have stayed down in loop there because we knew the enemy team was spawning up. By moving up here, you're opening up glass, which means they could flank you again, which is not ideal. This guy just needs to get collapsed on. You see what I mean? So, like, this guy's one shot. There's literally the whole blue team here, and he's not dead yet. Like, what is happening? Just kill him. How is he not dead yet? There we go. He's dead. Right, okay. So now the yellow team has split spawns, right? So they have 1 player dead and 3 players alive. If you're losing in King of the Hill and this happens, and you have this much hill time, you cannot afford to push the enemy team like this as a 3 when they all have full shields. So you want to wait for this guy to respawn because you have time. Yeah? And hopefully, as when he respawns, you can wait a second for him to get in position, and then you can push. Like, I'm not saying wait until he's literally at your side, but just have a bit of awareness, because it's likely here that the yellow team's just going to die. Because they're pushing with 3 people. That's fine. There's no issue with going after that guy. So they're all staggered again now. He's going to die as well. The other guy's going to die as well because they pushed as a 3 against 4 people. And they didn't even all push at the same time either. So regardless, like, even if it was a 3v3, they still would have lost because they didn't push at the same time. There's a guy coming in posters you don't know. Got the hill anyway. 2 guys in dip. That guy goes down. You see, getting shot in the back again. But this time you were stood near the end so you could escape. But he is going to chase you. There's no way you win that. Oh my god. Okay. So she got the trade, which in that scenario, that is a win. Because you have the hill. And they also have spawns on the far side of the map, so that's really good. Little tip here. Probably saw that. You've spawned in tram. Right? Stop it. So look at this guy here. You spawning in tram tells you that the enemy team is pushing the hall. Yeah, it's pushing the flowers hall if you spawn in tram. Because if they were pushing loop, it wouldn't spawn you here because they're close. Unless they were there and here, then it would. Yeah? So you can use your spawn location, as we've said many times in the channel. You can use your spawn location to basically deduct where the enemy team is most likely to be. Not with certainty, but with a high degree of accuracy. Yeah, so in this case, we've spawned tram, teammates are here, enemy team is probably pushing yard. And pushing loop at the same time. Which they actually are, so there you go, we're exactly right. Taking this fight is risky. Okay, you've isolated it, this is a trade, right? No, okay. Yes, so you get traded out. So the enemy team did push from yard at the same time. Your other two teammates probably got blindsided there as they were looking towards you. But it's just a little bit about spawns. So if we've spawned in this... conversely here... Conversely, if we've spawned in flowers, that means the enemy team isn't holding yard. Because if they were, we wouldn't have spawned here. We would have spawned in cafe, which is way further back. So that tells you that you've got space to push while these teammates are doing stuff. Because it's likely... Because they've all got exclamation marks, look. So exclamation marks mean they're in combat. So it's likely the enemy team is actually engaging your teammates right now. So you can push. And probably flank. Don't throw nades here, because you'll announce where you are until you're on top of them. Okay, now we want to just go full ham and throw nades. You need to help your teammate. So I like the use of cover, but if teammates go in, like, don't bait them. If teammates go in, you have to help them. Because otherwise, they just take all the damage and die. You want it so that you're both targets, and at this rank, it's unlikely that teams will shoot the same target. This is fine. I probably would have stood a little bit further back in case someone comes from glass, because then they might jump over your head. Guy dies. There is a guy in yard right now. Getting time's fine. You got numbers advantage. There is someone watching in yard. It's just complete chaos. Like, watch these two yellow players and how they don't push together. So this guy... So this guy's already pushed, right? This guy's coming. But watch what they do. This guy takes damage. He has to back off. He's totally not read the scenario at all. And now he's just dropped in. And you can see the bullet trail from Kat when she shoots the guy. Like, that's not hard to see. You can see that. He just dropped in and faced away from the hill when he knows... Forget that she's even shot her gun, right? This guy knows you're in the hill because you're in the hill. So he's just totally just killed himself. So again, it's a severe lack of situation, like tunnel vision that you get at this rank. If you're losing games at this rank, like, you have to ask yourself, like, do I exhibit very high level tunnel vision very often? And the chances are, if you are gold 1, the answer, unfortunately, is probably yes. No, like, I'm not flaming, because there's stuff that high level diamond players do, like they over rotate or they like miss time stuff a lot, like I do that. But at this rank, a key issue is that a lot of players, they just severe tunnel vision stuff and it just gets them killed. They don't really consider the full scenario of the battlefield of what's happening, and it causes them to make an uninformed decision that's not wrong, it's just not appropriate for that time. That guy get stuck? Oh, right, okay. I totally missed all of that breakdown for that, but I don't feel like there's anything that was particularly worth mentioning there while we're waiting. So we got some teammates down, we've spawned here. Again, if there's a guy here on posters, it's spawned as in yard rather than in loop, so bear that in mind. Is this the same guy from earlier? Wow. Okay. It just seems that your timing's really good. I don't know if you're doing this on purpose or not, because we don't know if you have comms or anything like that. But you seem to be pushing at the same time as teammates, and this video is a good articulation on how important that is. You're always there to clean up. And in the stat screen, you did do the most damage on your team by quite a lot. It was like 3,000. But you were also really good at cleaning up. You have got a good spawn here. This is an amazing spawn. Cross mapping. The only problem is you can't cross. I would have stayed in blue there because it stops the enemy team from crossing the hill. And it locks down that area, so you could shoot them if you stayed in cafe in blue. But you can help defend with your teammate if you like. But yeah, staying on this side would have just stopped the enemy team from pushing over. You could have shot them, and then your team probably spawned there too. This is... There's 9... We're nearly towards the end of the game. And it's 2-all, I believe. Ah, 3-1. Totally wrong. I think at this point you can just go complete gung-ho for the hill. Like, you have the space to make mistakes. But if you are going to go, you have to go. There's a bit of hesitation there. Though it probably wouldn't have made any difference. So just commit. If you're going to commit, just commit, because you're just delaying death, and now you're dead while the hill's not up, so... I'll just set up for the next hill, right? Like, there's 2 minutes left, you're up 3-2. Like, sometimes you just don't need to take the risks. Angle isolation there wasn't fantastic. Just go back to that really quick. The issue, again, isn't the fight. Like, this fight was fine. Dropping down here, still fine. Although, you could argue you should have stayed up top, but you could use this wall here, or you could use the truck. But you actually chose neither, you just kind of stood here, so you got killed from that way. Yeah, so you're getting shot by this guy here. And you kind of realize that too late. But you know someone's in the hill, look, because they had the hill the whole time. So you don't need to see the guy to know he's there. Like, if the guy has camo and he's in the hill, you know he's in the hill because the hill's on their team. So it's just lapses in awareness sometimes. So you've got control of mid here now, but you don't want to spawn here. By spawning in... So this was kind of a shit spawn, to be honest. Spawning in U-turn kind of really doesn't tell you anything about where the other team is or what they're doing. It's likely they're just everywhere around you, so this is not really a great scenario to be in. You probably want to leave this area as fast as you can, because staying here gives the map control and then you die anyway, so you just want to leave. Like how you played the corner, that guy just totally beelined for the hill again. And what we always say on this channel, if you're a long-time viewer, it's the slay first, hashtag slay first. The other team is definitely not slaying first. Running in first. Hanging bottom here again. Okay, we have moved. We need a power position. The bottom of the map isn't necessarily a power position. We need height. That was a slightly better strafe from that player this time. He alternated his movement with Cat's shots, which makes him very hard to hit. I'm going to try and learn how to do that. Try and pace your opponent's gunfire and change direction when you think they're going to fire. It's very effective. Use of the thruster there was okay. Probably would have thrusted back behind the truck, but nades would have probably maybe still killed you anyway. 3 players bottom for them. You've spawned here, but we know they're all there. We might have to get a good crossfire here. You just hang position in driveway, you're being a nuisance. Hopefully take their initiative and they push another direction. That guy was very silly for staying in the hill like that, knowing you're all alive. Yep, and then we take the hill. So I'm assuming this may be game. Maybe one more push from the yellow team and then game over, potentially. Not pushing. They are pushing together. You guys just ran into the open though. No team fire coming in there, so he gets absolutely bombed out. They are putting enough pressure on where you can't stand in the hill. But you've isolated anyone who pushes market really well and you win the game there. So that was really good. So, slightly shorter video this time. 23 minutes is pretty short for the analysis videos we usually do. But main things to take away from this at lower ranks. So, low platinum, high gold. Very poor situational awareness, sometimes ignoring information. Number 2, just learn how to shoot gun. Like, if you think you can shoot gun, just learn how to shoot gun more. Because there's a lot of times in that game where Kat had no business winning fights and she won them anyway. And this is coming from a player who hasn't played Halo for like 5 months. Yeah, she's literally not played since like before the bandit was a thing. So she's just come in and just been able to do that. So it's just the mechanics. You've got to be able to duel people. Make sure your strafe's appropriate. We had a few instances there where the enemy strafe was particularly poor. Like it wasn't long enough. So it just made no difference. So you were just making it harder for yourself. And then finally, like consider when you're spawning in. The spawn tells you where they are, or well, it tells you where they're most likely to, right? So, just some little things there. I hope this was helpful. We had a game last week where I got bodied, so this week I thought I'd put a game in where someone does well, and then try and explain why they're doing well, and then how they could do even better. But as I said, we are back now, so second video back, second video this season. Again, another video next week, and then the week after that we'll be in London. So, I'm not quite decided what I'm going to do for that, but if you've got any ideas or things you would want to see from London, make sure you drop them in the comments below and we'll make sure that we do it. But this has been Vanadam, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next.